Today, I will briefly introduce our research project on telehealth use and inpatient psychiatric visits among Medicaid beneficiaries. Telehealth services predated the COVID-19 pandemic. However, with the pandemic, the use of such technologies in psychiatric services become even more important in the US. Now, as a mainstay in psychiatric services, it is important to understand the outcomes of using such services on psychiatric hospitalizations. This project focuses on exploring differences in psychiatric hospitalizations among Medicaid beneficiaries with mental and behavioral health challenges based on their use of telehealth services. We used the identified Kentucky State Medicaid data from July 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2022, including individuals aged 18 or older whose first or second diagnosis code was related to mental health based on ICD-10 codes. So the logistical regression was applied to examine differences in inpatient psychiatric hospitalizations between telehealth and non-telehealth groups, while controlling for other variables such as age, year, gender, and additional covariates. Details of the included variables are presented in the results section. Due to the large sample size, we report average marginal effects, which represents the average change in the predicted probability of the outcome associated with a 1-unit change in the exposure variable, while holding other covariates at their observed values. Of over 1 million cases, 4.4% have any psychiatric hospitalization, and the prevalence of telehealth use increased from pre-COVID to post-COVID. Fewer beneficiaries in the telehealth group were hospitalized compared to the non-telehealth groups. The plot in the right top shows the proportion of inpatient visits across year by telehealth group. Overall, the telehealth group, represented in pink, had a lower proportion of psychiatric hospitalization across all study years. The plot in the bottom right represents the average marginal effects of psychiatric hospitalizations across the study period. The telehealth group is marked in red, which is here. And compared with the telehealth group, the non-telehealth group has a higher predicted probability of psychiatric hospitalizations across the study period after controlling for all other variables. In this slide, we represent separate models for the pre- and post-COVID period. The top right panel shows the AME result for the pre-COVID period, where the differences between the non-telehealth group and the telehealth groups is relatively small after adjusting for other variables. The bottom panel shows the AME result for the post-COVID period, where the differences in predicted probability between the two groups become much larger. Overall, the differences in hospitalization probability between the telehealth and non-telehealth groups increased substantially from pre to post-COVID. So from the summary and result sections, we observed that Medicaid beneficiaries with a psychiatric diagnosis who received the telehealth services were less likely to experience psychiatric hospitalizations. Those findings suggest that increasing the availability of telehealth services for Medicaid beneficiaries may help reduce psychiatric hospitalizations and potentially lower healthcare costs. Thank you for your time, and here are some of the references used in the projects.